eCarrierChecks is the key, innovating the process, can't you see? With the platform so smooth, keeps the workflow tight, efficiency and value, that's every single night. Risk profiles, they got 'em, man, it's no joke. North America's the stage and they never choke. Metrics on point, updated without fail. Chameleon carriers, they're on the trail. Don't play with unsafe companies, don't be that guy. eCarrierChecks, keeping it safe under the sky. 40 plus filters with the search that can drive carrier information in the FMCSA archive. Find your carrier with precision and needs. Location, equipment feeds. They got the keys. FTL shipper leads. They're right there for you. Real-time authorities, what they do. Crazy, breezy, ultimates. The dashboards, way freedom from low boards. They got it every day. eCarrierChecks, the architect leading the way.
Hello. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's staying warm this week. It's weather's been kind of nuts.
Out of control.
It's out of control.
Completely out of control.
Yeah, we hear a lot of people are moving, pushing freight back to next week. Hopefully it's a little bit better weather next week. But if you're on the road, hopefully you're staying safe. Just kind of look out for things out there, but be safe. So,
Yeah.
Jared, I'm excited to chat today.
Yeah.
Obviously, for those that you tune in each week, thank you so much. We are moving shows back to just Fridays only.
Yep.
Mainly because we've been doing a lot of demos, and this is going to allow us some time to continue to make eCarrierCheck just even better for you guys. So we're going to do some Fridays, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll keep rocking, though.
Yeah, we'll just keep doing what we do.
Yeah.
This has been an interesting week. We've talked to a lot of carriers, a lot of brokers. We continue to hear, the rates are up. You see, like if you watch Craig Fuller, he's talking about rejection rates are still above 10%. And this is when it gets kind of interesting, is when weather strikes.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because now all of a sudden, what do we do? The rates are up, capacity's a little tighter. There are certain lanes that just suck.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go from the middle of nowhere, North Dakota, to the middle of nowhere, friggin', Kentucky. You know what I mean? Nobody just wants to do it, right? And so it's like, how do we find rates, and how do we handle those conversations with shippers? And so I think that'll be a good starting point for us to talk about.
Yeah. I had a meeting this week with a young broker, and he had a chance to help. He got a shipper, but he has an opportunity to help the shipper cover some lanes. And when we were talking with him, we kind of mentioned that these are probably some of his tougher lanes to cover. So at this point, if no one's calling off the load boards, you get on eCarrierCheck and you start calling people in those areas. Right?
Yeah.
And you start having a conversation. And
Sheep Freight Hauler, what's up,
what's
brother?
up, bro?
How's it going, man? It's good to see you. Sorry, we've been kind of a little bit behind here and getting out to everyone between sickness and the holidays.
Dude, it's been insane.
We've been kind of a little bit of a hot mess. I was a hot potato this week.
I know. You still sound stuffy.
Thank
too,
you.
so.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What's up, T. Landy? Thanks for being
What's
here. What's
going on? It's good to see you guys. Yeah, I think some of those conversations with shippers, especially right now, when it comes to weather, when it comes to rates, especially in the spot market, if you misquoted something, I'm a big fan of, let's maintain relationship, let's follow our word, let's go get a truck, right? When it gets a little past where your comfort level is at, call your shipper and just be completely transparent. Now, brokers are giving freight back. You see that quite a bit. I never really like to give freight back. Personally, if I quoted it, I usually had a truck. I can get somebody under it. I can at least come close to breaking even or make a little bit of margin, right? But I'm a big believer that shippers are going to challenge those new brokers too. You know what I mean? You mentioned, the broker was like, well, he's giving me these lanes. When I was in LTL, I remember going around and people would, they'd be like, oh, you're an LTL guy, huh? And I'd be like, yeah. Well, I'm going to give you, Nebraska to the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma. And I'm like, can't you just give me, Nebraska to Chicago or something? Right. And I always told them, I said, well, give me two, because I'm going to mess up the first one. And we'd kind of have a little bit of a laugh on that. You know what I mean? But they're going to challenge you. When you're a new broker and they're giving you new lanes, they're not going to give you the easy stuff. They're giving that to their boys, the guys that they do work with every day. You know what I mean? They're not going to give you the hard stuff. So, how do we get through that? When nobody's calling, then what? Right?
you're a big proactive guy. You like to stay proactive. And we'll dig into how we can stay proactive, right? So
Gabe,
what's up, Gabe?
brother? What's going on, man? It's good to see you on. Veteran himself, just checking out of the industry. Hopefully, you kind of stay in it. You're a grinder, man.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met anyone else that grinds, but I do wish you congratulations on your new journey, and your new chapter for you and your family. So
Yeah,
keep doing what you're doing. You know, the nice thing is it's all relevant. You know, whether you're in sales and in a new industry or in this industry, you still have to just connect with people. Right. You know, you still have to just see where they're at. You know.
Yeah. Love it for you, man. So today what we're going to do, I'm going to pull up eCarrierCheck here and just kind of give you all an example of what we're seeing people do on eCarrierCheck, how they're covering freight in those tough lanes, how they're covering freight when the rates are up, you know, things like that. So if you have any searches that we can run for you guys, to kind of give you an idea what we're all about, let us know. You know, we're simple as far as like search wise, you know what I mean? It's easy to search, easy information to read. Does a carrier have inspections? You know, do they have, you know, are they being inspected in those areas that I need?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it for me, it's like, these are good, like conversation starters too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, Kevin, I saw, you know, you were in Nebraska. You go there quite often, you know, hey, I actually got some loads that might fit your backhauls, right?
Yeah.
So these are nice to kind of just have in your back pocket, start a conversation, and away you go.
Yeah, I even think too, you know, you said something about being proactive. In a world where, you know, the human to human element, I think, is probably more valuable now than ever.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll continue to, the value of that will continue to go up, right? As more robotics come into dispatch, as more robotics come into just managing paperwork and doing pretty much everything that humans do. I think having those relationships and really starting to build that connection is going to be wildly important. You know what I mean? You kind of looking like in 5 years from now, like how much of our job is going to be done over the phone? It's going to be very minimal, right? And I hope, for the sake of people that are in there right now, in the trenches right now, they're out there building those relationships, because you still have to talk.
Right.
You still have to have a conversation. You still have to understand how to relate to people.
Right.
Heaven forbid we actually know how to have short, you know, small conversations. Hey, how you doing? How's the weather? Right? There's nothing wrong with those things. Either that, or you're just going to have a whole world of friggin' full of, you know, people on the spectrum. You know, nobody's going to know how to friggin' talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I love the detail of what you're talking about here, because in our particular case, we know where people are going. We know what kind of equipment they have. And we know sort of the haulers and region of where they're going, because of the info we have on here, right? So there's talking points in our data. You just need to understand how to translate them. You know what I mean? I'll let you drive first.
Let's do this.
I just wanted to kind of relay that.
Right. And I love how we can search differently on eCarrierCheck too. There's no limit to your searches, right? If you guys are hammering the phones, there's no limit. You can throw carriers into a list and be like, okay, I already called these guys. You know, let's not call them again. But leave notes on these guys you're calling, and just learn more about their company and keep them in your pocket for later. You know, carriers will appreciate that you're trying to create a connection.
Yeah.
So you can do some location here. You know, let's find all those carriers that are in that area, right? So essentially they're saying, hey, this is where my headquarters is at. I'm in Ohio. Now you can get a little bit deeper if you wanted to put Columbus or whatever, right? Or maybe you need to find carriers that maybe aren't from Ohio. Maybe they're out of Nebraska, but they get into Ohio, right? You're seeing that inspection data coming in. And then just look at those ones that are running these lanes, right? So, but it's pretty simple. You have your radius. You can bump it out to 300. Run your search. Tell us what kind of equipment you're looking for in that area. Okay, dry vans, perfect. You know, you have better luck reaching out to mid-size to maybe small-size carriers. Awesome. Let's talk to them. And then away you go, right? You're looking for trailer jobs, you know, driver teams, whatever you're looking for, hazmat. For goodness gracious, we have it all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We kind of take it to the next level. Tire Killer, what's up, brother?
What's up, man?
What's going on? It's good to see you, Jerome. It's good to see you guys.
What's going on, Jerome? What's up, brother?
The old team is here, man. I feel like we could suit up in our friggin' Avengers outfit. Let's go take on the universe.
Thanks for showing up, man. If you just showed up, we're going back to just Friday shows right now. Okay, we're doing a lot of demos throughout the week, and we just want to make sure that eCarrierCheck is at its best every day, every week. and we're, for customer supports. But yeah, here's a great list. I did blur out the phone numbers and emails.
That's not, you're not just seeing that.
Yeah, you're not just seeing that. But yeah, you'll have their phone number, their emails. You'll even know who the heck to ask for, right? Obviously, you can't see their name, but if Kevin's the owner of this company, let's talk with Kevin. Let's see what's going on. Let's send them a postcard, or if you're dispatching, I see a lot of dispatchers on the site.
100%.
Sending postcards,
Yeah.
sending emails, calling, right? So
yeah, this is good too for when you're in the spot market. In this particular case, if S&S called in, you can kind of see everything about this company. You can see emails, phone numbers, old phone numbers if they have them in. We can see what type of equipment they've been inspected for, and there should be those flags that pop up. There's so much fraudulent activity these days that no matter, you should have a flag up almost the entire time, right? This is why I really encourage brokers build relationships with good carriers like Tire Killer, like friggin' Cheap Freight Hauler. These are people you can call, text, and you know that they're there,
Right.
and it's a continual, repeatable lane. Hey,
Right.
can you do this week, or what's your best case scenario? But it's a good spot market tool because it tells you everything that you'd need to know from what we see for equipment to to inspections to
Right.
everything in that regard.
Right. So what's kind of nice with our site is it's obviously really good for vetting, right? So I had a really good example the other day. Was this broker looked up an MC, but it said they did drive-in, but he was calling in on a hot shot loan.
Yeah.
So I said, well, let's look into his profile. So we came in here. Now this is not the carrier we were looking at, but he did have 2 hot shot inspections. So the way he signed up with FMCSA didn't reflect that he was doing open decks.
Oh, nice.
So we looked into, okay, he had a hot shot, couple, inspections with the hot shot. We went to the cargo fleet and we looked at, he had a Ram or something like that, Ram truck, or I can't remember what kind of truck he had, but he was doing hot shot work.
Yeah.
And that didn't reflect on that main page, but we dug deeper and said, okay, yeah, he's doing flat shot.
Yeah.
Hot shots. Hired him. Great guy. So super nice to understand, okay, what are these guys being inspected with? Are they going to, pull a quick one on me? What's going on? Asking questions. I love this for vetting. It's super helpful.
I'm almost into, it's just a quick glance and a quick understanding of where people are at. And sometimes things get a little more complicated than they really need to be.
Right.
I do think it's interesting when you mix, and this is really for those carriers that are on, because we got a couple that are on here. I think it's wildly important. It's about to flip, right? We're starting to see rates climb. We're starting to see carriers get a little more money. They need more money, for the love of God. Everything should just kind of keep coming up for the carriers in my mind. So stay in there, stay in the game. But what was interesting about this the other day, and this is just really relevant to right now in today's market, if you use, let's just say you're using ChatGPT or you're using Gemini or whatever it may be, and I don't know if from the carriers that are watching how much AI you guys are using, but here's something that I think is wildly important. Okay, it's not your Facebook page, it's not a friggin' website, it's a friggin' Google review. Now a website has to be connected to a Google review, but when we looked up carriers the other day in a certain area, guess what it pulled up? It pulled up all the Google review carriers that were in that area. Well, at a certain point, as a carrier, if you're like, well, how do I stand out in this? What do we have in here? 1 million carriers, something crazy? How does somebody find Jerome Jones? He needs to start getting reviews. And when he goes and picks up at a shipper, he goes, hey, man, can you give me a review? Just how I did. Communication, here it is. Send them the Google review. You get to the receiver, same thing. And you become your own best supporter when it comes to ChatGPT, when it comes to these new AI searches that are coming out, because I think it's wildly important to kind of have that online presence in that world, because it's going to continue. That's going to continue to come. You know what I mean?
You're spot on with the reviews. Everything we kind of do in life, we always go to reviews
all the time.
You're on Amazon. All right, let's look at the reviews.
Yep.
About to try this new Mexican restaurant. I'm looking at the reviews.
All the reviews. Chili, Colorado? I mean? Yes or no?
Yeah. I need to know, right? Yeah. So that's a really good point there. And even shippers have reviews.
Absolutely.
If
are they good at friggin' loading or not loading? Yeah.
I was a staff there, right? So a lot of reviews are out there, and it truly is super helpful.
I think that's a lot of, at first, AI was kind of being fed by Reddit, and it still is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of feedback, but guess what? There's a lot of feedback on reviews. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for you guys that are carriers out there, take the time. Now, something that's interesting about our site is how wildly specific you can get when you're looking for certain things, right? Obviously, reviews are important, but you got to take in the other considerations of what we see from VIN numbers, which Google's not going to have, and things like that. So we're seeing interesting things that allow brokers, dispatchers to be able to make those things. So let's see, I've made so much money that my accountant told me to start pulling some pro bono loads. Damn it, Tire Killer! Well, and he didn't have a major friggin' breakdown this year, did you? Was that 2 years ago when his transmission went out?
Yeah, was that a couple? It was a couple years ago.
I think it was. He didn't have any major breakdowns. You should go buy a truck and put somebody in it for you, or
kick your feet up.
Go buy a damn car wash. You said you wanted the power wash and shit.
Oh, that's right.
Truck wash would be sick.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to buy a truck wash. I think it'd just be kind of fun. Can you imagine that, like the ASMR videos you could make from washing trucks?
Oh yeah, TikTok, baby.
I know. My kids would be like, "Look at that! Look at the dirt coming off the truck." Be like, "Well, this time of year, baby, let's go."
Exactly.
Let's go.
It is entertaining out there. I mean, I know. What was the Chief Rail? He has his own TikTok account.
Yeah, I love his TikTok.
Some good editing. But yeah, so super nice functionalities on eCarrierCheck. Like I said, you can throw these cats into a list, and carriers can do the same thing with brokers. We got brokers on here. Let's go help you build a relationship with more brokers in those areas that's a little bit harder to get out of.
Yep.
Obviously, shippers like to be direct with the shipper, but sometimes a broker can just be there to help.
Yeah.
And there's some good brokers out there.
Yeah, 100%. Incognito mode activated. Neither DOT or Google can find me. Well, I suppose that might not be a bad thing, but incognito mode. Oh my gosh, I love that.
I love it. So yeah, another thing that we talked about is finding some needles in a haystack. There's a lot of weird equipment out there that's hard to find.
Oh my gosh.
We tried helping people find Moffett trucks. I don't know if you have any crazy stories of what we've had to find, but
I can tell you that my favorite story is we found. Well, the problem with this world is it's actually a lot smaller than it really is, right? What I used to do as a broker is when a shipper would come to me, and usually what I did is I filled in on emergency loads. They didn't really come to me with regular stuff,
right?
And I would tell them, I'd say, "Hey, why don't you give me a blacklist so I don't call your current vendor and piss them off?"
Right.
And she's like, "Well, you won't find them." And I'm like, "I promise you I'm gonna." And that's probably the most interesting thing about our site is I can find people's supplier trucks so quick. We found a multi-compartment tanker load guy in three clicks and 5 phone calls.
Right.
Come on, that's impossible. You can't find people like that. You want stretch flatbeds? I can call them all day. Stretch RGN, same thing. Vented vans, gotcha. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You want to find some weird stuff like that? We can help you find it. I don't know who's into brokering garbage right now. Gotcha. Tow trucks, done. It just whatever you're looking for in the weird things, we can help you find them. And it's probably more unique and old school. It's definitely, we've just taken a Rolodex and made it just a little bit heavier. You know what I mean? And we haven't got it complex. I like simple. And that's why we continue to be successful. And especially now when people are starting to look for carriers and build those relationships with carriers.
Well, something I want you to hit on too, Jared, like obviously a site like this, it's built to make, relationships, right? So how can someone sell this to a shipper when they're trying to make a phone call? Like, everyone's posting their loads, you know what I mean? They, call a shipper and you say, "Hey, I'm sure everyone's posting your loads. Well, here's how I source differently." I think if people don't really take this into a consideration, like, "Oh, hey, this could be a good selling point to show the shipper that, hey, I'm into making relationships."
Yeah.
Posting and praying.
100%. You kind of hit it on the head. When you make a cold call or when you're kind of developing those relationships, depending on where you're at in that journey with your client,
right,
it's so important to let them know that you're not the typical broker. I'm not just posting and praying.
Yeah.
I actually really do try and go out and develop lane relationships and make sure that the lanes that my carriers are running are what works good for you. And I really try to mold my sourcing ability around your business.
Right.
A lot of shippers, a lot of shippers just don't have the amount of volume you need to get contract guys.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Unless they're huge,
Right.
Pepsi or Costco or Sam's Club, right?
Right.
Those are huge companies that have the same stuff every day.
Yeah.
But a lot of the shippers that we have on here, we have, I don't remember how many shippers we have on our plat, 50,000 some shippers. A lot of shippers that are on here are smaller, medium sized. They don't have, they have spot market freight, and they have to go out to brokers. They have to go out to carriers.
Mhm.
And you hit it on the head. Why not sell, to sound a little bit different, your tech and how you source
Mhm.
or how you vet carriers, instead of going into, I got a truck, or I can post your load. Give me a minute, right?
Yeah.
It'll definitely make a difference in just the way people look at you and
Mhm.
your ability to move their freight.
Right. Yeah, you always been about trying to just stay away from being, what everyone else is doing. You always been talking about be different.
Yeah.
Be yourself. I think that's being different.
Oh,
There's
100%.
no one like yourself out there. So, but yeah, you kind of glimpsed over it. But yeah, we do have shipper leads on eCarrierCheck. It comes with your plan with the carriers. The Logistics Plus plan. Great list of leads here. People always tell me like, oh, everyone's calling this list. Well, I'm sure everyone's calling somebody, but how are you sounding different?
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
We actually had a guy named Ryan where he did a sales call one week, and he may have said something that maybe messed it up. I don't know what it was. But he called again next week, and the guy didn't remember.
Yeah.
And Ryan sold it better.
He's learned.
He just learned, right?
Yeah.
So like these guys are getting hammered with the phones no matter what. Everyone's trying to steal your customer.
No, 100%. It's a
you
small world.
You got a guy like Gunner just hammering the phone. He's calling your customer right now as we speak.
Yeah.
While you're watching us. Just kidding. But no, there's always someone out there fishing, right? So that's why communication's the best for your current relationships.
Yeah.
Talk to your shippers. Let them know that you're, what you can do to help them. I mean, like, it's just a dog eat dog world out there. It really is. And you just have to remember to provide good customer support.
Yeah.
It's really what it is.
And I think, I think the one thing about 2026 is that you've got to adapt to the times.
Right.
It does feel like things are moving wildly fast with technology.
Yeah.
And if it feels like that for you, then it feels like that for me. It feels like that for other people, right? We're all in that sort of same boat together. But what I mean by that is that instead of just taking the approach, well, I sent out 40 emails. Yeah, well, so did everyone else, right? I think you have to look at communication when it comes to carriers and shippers, honestly, in like multiple tiers, right? You've got the phone, you've got email. I think text is wildly important right now. If you're not texting carriers, from a sourcing standpoint, I think that's important, because people don't know who the hell's calling anymore, so nobody answers their phone. It could be a robot, it could be some guy selling insurance. It could be a new warranty that's out. And then there's the social selling as well. And so for you brokers, you dispatchers that are out there, look to see if those carriers have a Facebook page that you can message them on, to socially get engaged. Because I really think it's important. We show you brokers on our site. We'll tell you every broker that has a website. We'll tell you every broker that has a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page. We want you to understand that there's different levels of ways to communicate and connect with people, and everybody's different. We got the incognito mode guy on here that doesn't want to be seen or hear, and I get that. And then we got the same on the other end of where people are just pushing Google reviews, and you see that when you look up ChatGPT, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so just keep that in mind. If you're a carrier, what's important to you from a communication standpoint, and how do you want people to get to you? And then same thing with those brokers. How are you getting to those carriers right now? Because boy, the load boards are just full of, it's a very muddy water. You know what I mean? And it's not clean. You have to clean it, and it's got to go through a clean straw so that you don't get double brokered or friggin' ripped off or whatever the hell may be. So keep that in mind. Rates are climbing, sourcing's getting harder, and we've got to continue to adapt to times.
Yeah.
But human to human connection is always going to be important.
Right. Well said, Jared.
Take that into 2026.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jared. Hope everyone has their wood stocked up. It's about to get a little chilly. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's stocked. It is stocked.
It is just, I mean, I don't know what I woke up to. The wind chill was like -4.
Right.
Tomorrow's going to be brutal.
Yeah, I walked to work this morning. I was like, holy cow, it was freezing.
I told him I'd give him a ride. He just didn't listen.
But yeah, if you guys are on the road, stay safe. You know, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in. If anyone would like a demo, hit us up. Let's talk about your company. How can we help you?
Yeah.
You know, we'll show you how to use the site. You know, we're no strangers. We're not shy.
No.
Jared will make, you know, some calls with you. You know, he's not afraid to do that. And we want to see everyone grow this year. And that's what it's about, is connections, teaming up.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good people in this industry. And, you know, there's a lot of good people in this chat right now too. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you guys have a great week. We'll see you next Friday. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.